This is scary. If you watched my first video a little bit over a week ago on March 3rd, when I declared this new church Jubilee year for Swedenborg Chapel in Cambridge and invited all of us around the globe who are seeking to be a part of this new church that Swedenborg declared. Since making that declaration over a week ago, I have been thrown into fear and consternation and turmoil and questioning and wondering, and I have not yet come out the other side with a full and complete picture of what it is I am being called to do. I feel like God is only giving me just enough to get through the day and to find clarity on what is true in any given moment. But I honestly, friends, don't know where it is all going. That being said, I have enough confidence to be making these ridiculous videos on the internet because there are a few things that I have come to really believe and to know are true. And these knowings give me faith in this enterprise that I am inviting you into. Just so for my first missive for this new church Jubilee year, I felt it would be useful to share what are those grounding things that I have come to know are true that are giving me the confidence to then put into question just about everything else about my profession, about this church that I am serving, and about what that church is called to be and to do. As my sister put it, don't Jubilee your way out of a job. And that's probably a good point. You know, we all need to live and we need to eat. But there's a reason that I feel confident in this move. Not without fear, but at least confident. And I want to tell you those true things in this first missive. First, I trust providence. Providence is the reason I came into the church in the first place. It was being taught and coming to learn and to feel and to believe the idea that isn't so far-fetched that God, that all that is the source of creation, the source of life, that just as God is nurturing this incredible creation around us into being and bringing alive all that we experience, that God is doing that for me on a personal level in every minute. That God is doing that for me, that God is doing that for all of you, and that God is doing that within these churches and these spiritual communities that we are seeking to create. For me personally, what that meant is I could trust the moment. I could trust where I was planted, and I could trust that there was something for me in that location to do. Something that has goodness in it, something that has pleasure in it, something that has joy. As a young adult, I really, really, really struggled feeling that I had to discover myself someplace, somewhere. And if I didn't, I would live a life of misery and pain. And mostly I lived a good many years in misery and pain with that belief. But once I let go of that, fearing that my life was somewhere else and trusting that here, right now, in this moment of my life, God is present. And not only that, but a new church is being beckoned in the biggest possible sense of the word. A new me was being beckoned. A new me that didn't need to earn her place in the world, but that just had to kind of shed these painful and limiting expectations that I placed on myself so that I could start to actually just do what felt joyful, what felt good, what I felt led to do. This for me is providence, and I trust in providence wholly and completely. And so if that's the case, if my trust in providence is well placed, then I believe right now the person that I am, the human I have become and am becoming, the spiritual community that I am a part of, that our story is a part of providence. And that our location in the world, as much of a painful history as it may have, as many obstacles as we may feel we have against us, that we are being invited into a bigger life. I believe all of us are every minute being invited into a bigger life. Not a different life than the life we lead, but a more expansive sense of our life in the moment. A life that is less hindered by negative voices and negative self-talk. A life that sees our possibilities, sees our divineness, and sees that we have something to bring. I believe that with every single fiber of my being. And so that means I have something to bring. And that means the things that I think and the things that I have come to know and the messiness that I feel called to invite us into, that means I can trust that because I trust providence. And I also trust myself, which has taken some work. I would say that this last year, turning 45 has been a turning point for me in learning to trust myself. But the interesting thing is, while I've recently really had a shift in my inner consciousness to realize I can trust myself, it's always been true. Because ultimately, it has always been me that has made the decisions about how I will live. I'm not saying I've always made the best choices. I'm not saying that I have always made choices that have flowered and grown. I have made choices that have caused harm and have caused pain. And yet those choices have always ultimately been mine. And even when they've brought me into dark places, they've brought me out again too. I believe in this time of uncertainty in the world when we have lost faith in our institutions in a large part, where many of us are just kind of hanging on and finding as much joy as we can, but don't know how to plug in and don't really know how we're ever going to change all of these messed up institutions. I think that in some ways, and perhaps many ways, and perhaps all ways, the only thing we can truly trust is ourselves and each other. The truth we are coming to know, the goodness that we feel and experience. You know, we are a part of a tradition that looks to Emanuel Swedenborg, a singular man who had a profound revelation and chose to share that with the world. And we believe in his revelation. We believe that his spiritual eyes were opened and that he saw something amazing. And we continue to look to that vision because we know there's something there for us. And I'm not done looking to that vision. I believe in that vision. And I, through Providence, have come to be a part of the community that is seeking to bring that vision into the world. I believe in his vision, and I believe in mine. I believe in yours. I think that God is giving us the insights we need to transform this world in the ways that it needs to be transformed, to bring about a new heaven and a new earth. I think that all of the information we need is in the goodness and love and pleasure and joy of each one of us. I think that we have squashed our inner light. I think our inner light has been squashed through this scientific revolution that has lifted up reason above all things and made us to believe that there are experts and then there are those who are ignorant, but has not honored the fact that actually, probably, if Providence is really true, and if God is really this force of life seeking expansion and love, then maybe all of us have something to say. Maybe all of us have something to give. So I'm not going to wait around for the experts anymore. And I hope through this new church Jubilee year to invite all of you who participate in this journey to also disband with the experts and go inside. Listen to your heart. Share what you believe about the call, the next call. How do we support each other? How do we create this spiritual community of love in a very troubling time, a very challenging time? I believe that this new church is going to be what is necessary to see us through all the transitions that are ahead, if we are to transform our world, if we are to find peace and communion. So we begin. This is our first missive, and I begin with these two declarations: that we can trust in providence, that there is a force within us bringing truth and goodness and light, that we can't get off of the bookshelf and that we can't get through listening to others and following their way, but only by following ours. I trust in this providence, and I trust in the Swedenborgian Church, our quirky little community of people constantly wondering what we're doing, but also trying to do our best. I have had so many powerful and wonderful experiences of love in the Swedenborgian community, and I wouldn't be fulfilled and joyful and blooming in my life at this moment had it not been for the support of this community till today. So when I throw us into uncertainty and say, let's just think about this for a little while, let's be open, let's wonder, I am not saying that because I want to kill what has been. I know some people see me as wanting to just throw it all down. I hope that some of my parishioners from the past in Freiburg or the Church of the Holy City in Wilmington, I hope that some of you, and maybe even my people in Cambridge, I hope that my people in Cambridge will also speak for the fact that I'm not trying to kick it all over. That in fact, I love church. I love what we have created, and yet I know that maybe we can create something even better, even more, that everything has to shift and change. So let's trust in providence. Let's see what comes. Let's trust in ourselves as divine beings who are a part of God and a part of the new church coming into being. And let's see what comes, because I have nothing but hope and faith and confidence. And yet I don't have the end picture all in view. And I don't think that any of us do, and that's okay. But we will get to that picture one step at a time, as we each boldly and willingly share our lives and share our vision with one another. So I promise to be honest with you in the days to come about my vision and about what I am seeing, and I hope that you all will join me in that. And who knows where we will be after this Jubilee year? Who knows what God will have done? Blessings, friends.